Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I will be reacting to SSG Animation's 2 True YouTube Horror Story Animated. It's Halloween time, and I have also did another video but with Wanzi Entertainment. But I decided to get some spooky story content out because it is the month of Halloween. And plus my birthday's coming up. It's coming up in 3 days. Don't forget to wish me a happy birthday. But yeah, let's get on with this short.
Trends are everywhere nowadays. It's all over social media, on every social platform basically, all over the internet. And while trends are things that seem to be fun, one of these trends ruined my life. My name is Mason Phillips, and this is my story. I used to be a YouTuber, and while not a huge one, I had a pretty decent following. My channel consisted of me and my little brother Todd doing pranks, challenges, basically everything normal YouTubers do. It happened on the 14th of June. I and my little brother Todd decided to do the 24-hour YouTube DoorDash challenge trend. We got so hyped for it, and by the numbers of people talking about it in the comments, we could tell our viewers did too. We started at 6 a.m., as that was when we went live on YouTube. We weren't really getting many orders when it was early, but soon as it reached 9 a.m., we started getting a lot. We didn't have a cameraman, so we just interchanged the camera being my phone, at intervals between each other. To keep things interesting, we'd do silly things between takes like a backflip or prank calls, all while still delivering every order we got. Around 3 p.m., we had like around 300 viewers on our YouTube live. I remember being really happy about it, as it was one of the biggest numbers we'd ever got. As time passed, we kept on making numerous deliveries, and before we knew it, the sun was going down and it was nearing the evening time. We had started running out of orders and our viewers were dwindling. We were also getting tired as we'd been out since morning, but I was determined to keep the remaining viewers entertained. So we began to do more hilarious stuff in between orders, like screaming at strangers or just saying ridiculous stuff. But the more interesting content we tried to make, the more tired we became. And once it was nighttime, our viewers had reduced to only 20 people. So we decided to take a break for a while. We then entered a nearby restaurant. I didn't know where we were at the time because we had driven around so much that day. So we basically had no idea where we ended up. Even though we weren't doing anything funny, we kept the live going for the remaining 20 people who were watching. I began to feel sleepy now, and I knew my little brother was feeling sleepy too, so I asked him, "You want some coffee, Todd?" My brother then said, "You know I don't like that crap, Mason." With all that had gone on that day, I'd forgotten my little brother didn't like coffee, so I said, "Oh, I forgot about that. But we need to stay awake, dude. So do you need to take some?" He then said, "Nah, dude, I'd rather have an energy drink or something." So we called the waitress, and I asked for some food, some coffee, and an energy drink. As she went to get our food, I checked our live. We weren't doing anything interesting, so I wasn't surprised when I saw the number of people watching had dwindled to 10. It was nearing 11 p.m., so I assumed everyone watching had gone to bed. We also weren't getting many orders now because no one really ordered food this late at night. As the waitress brought our food, the first thing I noticed was the energy drink they brought for my kid brother. It was called Power, and that was the only word that was written in English on the can. Everything else, like the ingredients, were written in a foreign language. I remember asking her, "What kind of energy drink is this? I've never heard of this brand before." She then told me it was an imported brand and that it was the only one she could find. My kid brother, who apparently didn't care where it was from, popped the cap open and began to drink. I remember him saying, "It's fine, Mason. These energy drinks are all the same." I then thanked the waitress for the food as she left. After we finished our food, my kid brother Todd started acting weird. His eyes were bloodshot red and he began to shout the words, "Let's do this!" Shocked, I asked, "Are you okay, Todd?" My brother then replied saying, "I'm fine, bro. You worry too much." I was about to say something else when the weirdest thing happened. We had received an order. Now this was really strange to me as it was 1 a.m. in the morning. The message read, I'm really hungry and you guys are the only people that are still active around this area. I just need some burgers and a Coke. I didn't want to do it, but Todd, who was still hyperactive, said, "Come on, man, we have to." So I ignored the bad feeling in my gut and I agreed to do it. We were already at a restaurant, so we just ordered the food there. As I said before, I really had no idea where we were, so I just turned on my location and used Google Maps to guide me. After a while, we finally reached the neighborhood and everything was deathly quiet. There were barely any lights on, apart from the dim streetlights. Plus, all the houses looked the same, so I didn't know where to go.
I don't get paid until next week.
I got you. I'm Dave, and I can spot you up to $500 of your future money.
I tried calling and messaging the person who ordered the food, but I didn't get any reply. I then told Todd, who was still hyperactive, what was going on. So he got out of the car and said, "What about that house?" Now, even though I couldn't see well, I could tell the house he pointed at looked pretty abandoned, and I knew no one in their right minds would live there, so I said, "Nah, dude, that house looks old. I'm sure no one lives there." Now, I wasn't ready for what happened next, and I'm pretty sure the reason why my kid brother did what he did was because of the strange energy drink he had earlier. Because Todd then slowly looked at me and said, "Well, we'll never know unless we find out." He then screamed the words, "Dash, dash, dash," at the top of his lungs, and he bolted straight to the house. To be honest, at that moment, I'd forgotten that YouTube Live was still going on, as I bolted right after him with my phone still in hand. He was fast and I couldn't catch up to him before he got to the house. The wooden exterior of the house was really old, and the place smelled really bad, but none of this was affecting my little brother, as he just kept incessantly ringing the surprisingly working doorbell. I remember telling him, "Let's go, dude, no one is here." But Todd completely ignored me and kept on ringing the doorbell. I eventually had enough of his antics and I was about to drag him out of there when it suddenly happened. A huge man broke through the house's wooden door and I instantly felt numerous shards of wood from the broken door pieces through my skin. It felt like 1,000 splinters and the force made me fall back on my butt. I then looked up to see a huge man holding a metal rod. Todd, my little brother, had received the full force of the impact because he was standing directly behind the door. He tried to run, but the man struck him on his leg with the rod and I heard my brother's bone break. My brother began to scream out in pain, and the man then proceeded to do something that scarred me for life. He began to repeatedly break my little brother's leg by continuously striking him on the legs with the metal rod. I can still hear every single crack till today. It didn't take long before my brother began to scream my name. "Mason! Mason, help me!" But I didn't do anything, and it's not because I didn't want to. It was because I couldn't do anything. I was completely paralyzed with fear as I watched that man break my little brother's bones to pieces. Todd's screams continued to get louder, and I could tell this was irritating his attacker. So the man made what seemed to be an animal noise, and he began to hit Todd on the head. It didn't take long before Todd stopped moving, as I could see his head had cracked open. After a while, the man stopped his attacks. Todd's corpse was all bloodied and disfigured now. The man then looked at me as he started to approach. I didn't run because, at that moment, I wanted to die. I'd cowardly let someone murder my kid brother, and I knew if I had survived, I wouldn't be able to face my parents. I was meant to protect them, and I didn't do so. I told myself that it'd be better if we both died here. By now, the man was already above me. He hit me on my face with the rod, and I felt my nose break. He was about to strike me again when 2 gunshots were fired, and I saw the man drop to the floor. Before I could figure out what happened, I was immediately surrounded by the cops, and the last thing I remember from that night was watching the paramedics carry my brother's body as I passed out. I woke up in the hospital to see my parents above me. They had teary eyes, and it didn't take long before I began to cry as they both hugged me. The cops came in and asked me for a statement, so I told them everything that happened. When I asked them how they found me, they said they received a call from one of the 3 remaining viewers who witnessed everything as the YouTube Live session was still on. They then told me that since my location was on, all they had to do was track my phone and find me. I had no idea that people were still watching the live. But to whoever you are, thank you for saving my life. Although the man who killed Todd was dead, My parents still asked for his identity, and the cops said they didn't know who he was, as when they ran his prints through the database, the man had no background or identity in the U.S. Again, even though Todd's attacker was brought to justice, losing Todd still hurt me in an unimaginable way. I couldn't help feeling that it was all my fault, and I know I'll keep on feeling this way for the rest of my life. It's been 2 years since this incident, and it still seems like it happened just yesterday. I have since quit and deleted my YouTube channel in order to deal with the trauma. Most days when I go online, I still see people doing these trends or challenges on social media. And my message to you all is, be careful out there, because you never know when something as nice and fun as these trends could ruin your life, the same way it ruined mine.
Hi, my name is Freddie. Something unbelievable happened to me a few months ago, and I'm still in.
That was so sad. Oh my God, I felt myself beginning to cry. But like, yeah, don't, every single trend you do not need to jump onto. Like, a lot of people been getting hurt, injured, or even killed by those. So don't jump into every trend that you see. It's not necessary. It's not cool. It's not funny. Okay, let's continue.
Shock. Adam and I have been friends since we were babies. Our mothers were best friends. Adam and I had a YouTube channel where we narrate horror stories. We would sometimes go to haunted buildings and places to try and document any odd occurrences. We would wait for hours videoing, hoping to get something scary on camera. We also loved watching horror movies because it helped us narrate better. Anytime a new horror movie was released, we would wait till midnight to watch it. We would also document it. It is common for YouTubers with the same content to collab, which was short for collaboration. We sometimes used the attic in my house to record our content, but we often went to bushes and abandoned houses. Everything was going smoothly, and our subscribers kept increasing until a fan sent me a link to a YouTube page one day and told me, "That's your new competition." I was inquisitive, so I clicked the link. It was a new channel, but they were growing fast. They had tons of subscribers and views. I watched some of their videos. They were terrifying. They were siblings, Fester and Annabelle. Even their names were scary. Their look was also frightening. They would wear capes, fake vampire teeth with smoky makeup, and they had multiple piercings. Months later, they took their content to the next level. They had a segment called Top Notch Horror. Instead of narrating horror stories, they would act them. Annabelle would wear fake body parts, and Fester would cut them out. She would scream as if her real body parts were cut off. You'd think it was genuine because they used a lot of fake blood. Adam didn't like them, but I did. It was a few days before Halloween when Fester and Annabelle reached out to Adam and I for collaboration. I was thrilled, but Adam was indifferent. They sent us their house address and told us they also invited one other YouTuber. When Adam and I got to the address, the house looked so scary. "I guess they take Halloween seriously," Adam said. We entered and saw Annabelle. She looked entirely different from the YouTube videos. She was dressed normally. Fester, on the other hand, was in his costume. A few minutes later, Brad, the other YouTuber they invited, arrived. We were all ready to create amazing content. A new horror movie was just released, and we were going to watch that. We were about to watch the movie when Fester realized Annabelle wasn't wearing any costume. He shouted at her to change and was almost violent. Adam told him to calm down, and he snapped. "My dad isn't around, so I'm the boss. This is practically my house, so just shut up and stay out of my business," he shouted. Adam was ready to fight, but I calmed him down, and after a few minutes, we started watching the movie because it was getting dark already. The movie was very intense. There was a particular scene where a monster took a knife and said something in a strange language, and then started killing innocent people. Fester kept repeating what the monster had said. "What do you think that word means?" Brad asked Fester. "I don't know, and I don't care," Fester answered annoyingly. We wrapped up the video and we were about to leave when Fester suggested we act in a short horror movie, which will be based on the horror film we just watched. I was exhausted and so was Adam. We told him to reschedule, that it was late already, but he said it was now or never. Brad had agreed already, so we had no choice but to play along. He quickly said he would play the monster and brought fake body parts and blood. We started attaching the fake body parts to ourselves. I hid my arm inside my clothes and replaced it with a fake one. I attached some fake blood so when he cuts the fake arm, the blood will gush out. Adam took the fake leg, and Annabelle and Brad took extra flesh and attached it to their body. We were about to start and the rules were simple. Don't hide too hard, and once you're caught, signal your fake body part to him. Fester held the camera and had a knife in his other hand. He said the monster's words in the movie and told everyone to hide. The first place that came to mind to hide was the attic. The attic at my house was my hiding place. Luckily, they had an attic. I quickly went up to the attic to hide. I closed the door gently and ambled. The building was old. Although I tried to stride, the floor kept creaking and I was getting scared. There was a tiny opening on the ground. I laid down carefully and I saw Annabelle hiding in their parents' room. I was about to whisper her name when Fester entered. She started screaming, "Please don't kill me." She signaled him to cut her neck. He grabbed her hair and cut her neck. She screamed, but this time it was from real pain. "You cut too deep," she said. My heart skipped a beat. "Oh, shut up, you crybaby," Fester told her. I stood up immediately and rushed downstairs. I saw Adam on my way. I told him Fester cut Annabelle for real, and she's bleeding. We both ran towards the bedroom. When I got to the bedroom with Adam, I couldn't believe my eyes. Fester had dropped the camera. He sat on his sister, stabbing her multiple times. She was barely alive. Adam and I rushed in and held him. He was struggling. I tried to take the knife from him, but he was powerful. Adam started calling out for Brad. It wasn't long before Brad entered. I quickly told him to check on Annabelle. He walked past us to check on her. "I don't think she's breathing. Oh my God, this is bad." "Call the police, Brad," I said. Immediately after Fester heard this, he started struggling more. He kicked me and was able to break free, and before we knew what was happening, he slit Brad's throat. It was an unbelievable sight. I was so shocked I couldn't move. Adam grabbed my hand and told us to run. We ran out of the room and Fester followed us. We tried to go outside, but all the doors were locked. My phone was dead and Adam couldn't find his phone. "We need weapons or something we can use to break the door," Adam said. I remember seeing some tools in the attic, so I told Adam to check the kitchen and I'll check the attic. I took a shovel and ran to meet Adam in the kitchen. We tried to break the kitchen window, but it was too strong. I started looking around for a key, and then I saw a phone. It was an old phone. I was about to call the police when I heard a gunshot. I looked back and saw Adam in a pool of blood. Fester was going to shoot me, but Adam took the bullet for me. So Fester shot him one more time and started laughing like a maniac. Adam was still breathing, so I started begging him. I told him I wouldn't tell anyone what happened. I was crying like a baby. "Please, just let me take him to the hospital," I pleaded on my knees. "And what will you tell the doctor happened to him?" Fester said quietly. I told him I'd make up an excuse, and he said, "Don't worry. You will continue your friendship in hell." He screamed, laughing strangely. There and then, my heart skipped a beat. I heard another gunshot and fell to the ground thinking I was shot, but it turned out it wasn't from Fester's gun. It was the police. The police received a call from Brad's phone and tracked the location when they didn't hear him say anything. They came right on time and Fester was arrested. But it was too late for Brad and Annabelle. Adam was rushed to the hospital. The doctors were able to save him, but he ended up in a wheelchair. We both got therapy, but ever since, never remained the same. And the YouTube page was disabled.
For both those stories, I would need therapy. I feel like I need therapy just for listening to that. But both stories were don't even know what to say. That's crazy. I'm speechless. If you like this video, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next video.